Good morning, everyone. Buenos días, mi gente. My name is Line Correa Velez. My pronouns are she, her, ella, and I am your Vice President of Leadership Programs here at HACE. HACE, we are the Hispanic Alliance for Career Enhancement. We're founded in 1982 as a national nonprofit headquartered here in Chicago, and we are dedicated to the employment, development, and advancement of current and aspiring Latino professionals. Our mission is to positively impact the American workplace by cultivating the pipeline of Latinx, Hispanic talent and providing Latinx, Hispanic talent professionals, talented professionals, I should say, the insight and access and support to be successful in their careers. I am thrilled to have a guest today, Zuani Villareal from Feeding America. Good morning, Zuani.
Good morning, Lynette. Thank you for having me and for this great opportunity.
Absolutely. We're excited to have you. But before we dig into your interview virtually, I'd like to share a couple of upcoming events, some announcements here at ASE. So I'd like to invite all participants, and of course, those of you that are going to see this recording afterwards, to three different virtual, if I'm not mistaken, which is amazing, events. The first one that's coming up is this Friday. It's our Hispanic Heritage Month kickoff. It's in partnership with the NFL. So this Friday, September 20th, starting at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you are in the LA area, you are more than welcome to register and join in person. But you can also register and join virtually. There'll be a link posted in the chat. So please take a look at that and share with your respective networks. Next, we have our STEM inclusion series. It's coming up next Tuesday, September 24th at 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. It's free and open to the public. Please register for that. There's going to be some dynamic STEM Latinx professionals that are going to be featured at that virtual event. So would love for you all to join us. And then, as you all know, we're in Hispanic Heritage Month now, and we will be highlighting Latina Equal Pay Day on Thursday, October 3rd from 9 to 4. It's actually a hybrid event, so it'll be actually in person, sponsored by BMO Bank. But you can register and attend the live stream virtually. It's a free event, both in person and virtually. So those three links will be shared in the chat promptly. So please take a look at that. Register, share with your networks. Would love for you all to join us. Now, kicking into the most important question, Zuani, how do you like your cafecito or coffee or beverage of choice? Tell me more.
Well, Lynette, typically I enjoy a vanilla latte with oat milk. My favorite cafecito that I've ever had is a café de olla when I was in Monterrey, Mexico. But right now, since I'm battling a little bit of allergies and a cough, I'm nursing some tea into some warm water, and a cough drop as well. So,
oh my gosh! Well, I hope. Is it more of an allergy cold for you at this time?
It's allergies for sure. Yeah, it's allergies. It's just kind of hitting me a little bit. But yeah, normally it's a latte with some vanilla, maybe some canela, but oat milk.
Oh, that sounds so good. So I like my cafecito, and of course, I would be remiss if I don't share my cafecito con ace mug. I have a cortado in here.
Nice.
I bought it earlier from a local Chicago, and greetings from Chicago, Illinois. I didn't get a chance to say that, but from a local Chicago Latino-owned cafe shop. So love my cortados. And for those of you that are watching, please let us know what part of the U.S. are you located, and let us know how you like your cafecito. I'd be curious to see that as well. So Zuani, if you can tell us where do you live and work now? And if you can tell us a little bit about your cultural and professional background and how you got to your career.
Yeah, well, right now I'm coming to you from Washington, D.C., so a lovely hotel background. But normally I'm in Chicago. So I work at Feeding America, which is a national food bank network. And we are actually headquartered in Chicago. We do have a small office in Washington, D.C., but I spend most of my time in Chicago if I'm not traveling for work. Um, so at Feeding America, I've been here almost 9 years. I grew up on the border, so I'm originally from Texas, South Texas, Matamoros, Mexico, Brownsville, Texas, that area of the Rio Grande Valley. And so I'm a first generation Mexican American. Both my parents are from Mexico, from Tamaulipas and Nuevo Laredo. And kind of besides living in Mexico City and Villahermosa when I was really little, pretty much from first grade on, I lived in Texas. Um, Went to private Catholic school, then went to public state college, and then just kind of worked and lived around Texas for a while. And then made my way north to Chicago almost 9 years ago.
I love it. I mean, Chicago is where it's at. But of course, I am also a transplant. I'm a Boston, Massachusetts transplant in Chicago. Boston will forever and always be my hometown. But I must say, Chicago is definitely my home. So
It's a
uh,
beautiful city. I mean, I
it's so
love it.
nice.
And for me, like I'll share a little bit kind of my journey
Please.
here. So I went to State University, Texas A&M. I have a degree in accounting and finance, and which I don't do hardly any of that now. But that's the path for many people. I figured a business degree was a good degree until I figured out what I really wanted to do. Um, and so I did corporate finance for a couple years in Dallas, Texas, for an international telecom company. But I realized that it wasn't really fulfilling me. It wasn't really what I wanted to do. And I remember that the company sponsored kind of volunteer activities, and they would coordinate volunteer activities for their employees. And they had a partnership with a local elementary school, um, where you could go and help and read and help with spelling and help the students read and spelling. And so I signed up for that, and I would do that once a week. And I did that for the 2 years I worked there. And I think I just had this epiphany one morning or one late evening, and I was working in my cubicle, um, working on a PowerPoint presentation about some metrics. And I just kind of asked if myself, like, if it really mattered, this presentation, like, did it really make a difference? Whereas I knew that that hour I spent every week with that kid in school made a difference. And so I decided that I wanted to work in a nonprofit space and kind of make that my full-time job. Now, mind you, back then, I didn't really know what it meant to work in a nonprofit space. I didn't know what it took. I thought maybe I needed a degree in social work or something, but I ended up in San Antonio, took about a year and a half off, ended up in San Antonio, and ended up starting at the San Antonio Food Bank as an AmeriCorps volunteer. And from there, was
AmeriCorps is amazing. We love
it,
AmeriCorps.
I mean, it got my foot in the door. I was
Yeah.
applying for all sorts of jobs in nonprofits in San Antonio, just trying to get my foot in the door. I had a accounting and a master's in finance degree, but I was just like, I'll do whatever it takes. I just want a job with an organization that is doing
Yeah.
good work. Um, so as an AmeriCorps Vista, I did food drives. I coordinated food and
Hmm.
fun drives, like working with elementary schools, working with local churches and businesses that wanted to give back. I did that for a year, and
Yeah.
then kind of stayed at the food bank and worked my way up. I started as a food drive coordinator, and then 9 years later, when I left, I was the chief development officer.
Hmm. Amazing.
And yeah, and again, stuff that maybe directly and indirectly I learned in at university, but then also kind of that on the ground in the space learning
Mhm.
absolutely helped. I worked at the Boys and Girls Clubs for 4 years in San Antonio, and that really helped me to see the value firsthand of what a based organization can do, right?
Mhm.
I saw how the parents depended on the Boys and Girls Clubs to provide a safe space for their kids while they were still working
Mhm.
after school, during the breaks, in the summer. So I saw that and I wanted to help more. And that's how I ended up at Feeding America.
Mhm.
I wanted to work at the national level. I
Yeah,
wanted to see what I could do at the national level. And Feeding America, as a nationwide network of food banks, the San Antonio was one of Feeding America's member food banks.
mhm.
There's an opportunity, and I went there, and I've been there ever since. And now I'm in a new role that I'm excited to share with you about.
Awesome. Well, you've done some amazing work in your professional career. And as you mentioned, Feeding America is the largest hunger relief organization in the US. So tell us a little bit more about your current role, how you transitioned, what your responsibilities involved, and of course, your focus on Latino community engagement.
Yeah, for sure. So, as a national network of food banks, we provide food and services and advocate for hunger relief programs all around the country in all 50 states, Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico. And we know that according to the latest USDA report, there's 47 million people in the US that are food insecure.
That's right.
Um, so it's
And that's whether they're employed or not.
whether they're employed or not. And food
Hmm.
insecurity means um, hunger is a symptom, and we can all experience hunger, right? But
Hmm.
food insecurity is that word insecurity is really what it's about. It's just not knowing where your next meal is going to come from, maybe skipping meals, maybe eating not so healthy meals,
Hmm.
and making sure that your kids get the food that they need, and you're skipping all of that kind of stuff is food insecurity. And so
Hmm.
there's 47 million people, but out of those 47 million, there's nearly 14 million that are Latinos.
Yeah.
It is the
And that's
largest
those that are reported.
that are reported.
Hmm.
It's Latinos are the largest minority group that is food insecure.
Hmm.
And so about a year ago, Feeding America created a team focused on building relationships and strategies to help support those communities that are most impacted by food insecurity. So we're
Hmm.
talking about the Black community, Native and tribal communities, and the Latino community. And as soon as that was announced and that was being developed, I raised my hand and I said, I want to do that for the Latino community.
Yeah.
I was previously doing media relations and communications for the organization,
Hmm.
but this was just this perfect marriage of my passion and my mission, um, a new role, and I wanted to try it out, and so that's what I'm doing now. And so it's been a little over a year, and it's just been wonderful. Because as we mentioned, like even though there's 47 million people that are experiencing hunger and food insecurity, not everybody experiences it the same way.
That's right.
Right? And so we have to have these targeted approaches to really support each community. And so that's my role is kind of leading the Latino community engagement efforts and reaching out to other Latino serving organizations and figuring out how we can work together at the national level, but then also building partnerships and supporting those 200 food banks on the ground and helping them do better outreach and connection to the Latino community as well.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, I will share. I see here in the chat, Lisette Arias Annette. I don't know if you know that person. Conego Brands loves Feeding America. So wanted to highlight that person. Thank you for that love. And of course, we have people here from across the United States, South Florida, Matamoros, Mexico, which is kind of cool. Of course, Chicago, Chattanooga, Tennessee. So thank you all for Oh My Heart, Zuani. I love it in the chat. That's great. So we are, as I mentioned, celebrating Hispanic Latinx Heritage Month. And September, though, is also Hunger Action Month. Feeding America, I understand, has released a Hunger Action Month calendar that helps with impactful ways on how to make a difference. Can you share a little bit more about those efforts?
Yeah, so there's a lot going on in September, and it's wonderful. And there's ways to connect all these different things that are happening, all these different celebrations and campaigns. So for us, Hunger Action Month is a time to reach out, and we know that we can end hunger together. And so every action that we can take individually or as a group, as a community, can make a difference. And that can be volunteering, that can be donating if you have the means to donate financially. If you're in the food industry and want to connect and you want to donate food, you can do that as well. Um, we can advocate, we can use our voice. Right now, we're advocating for a strong farm bill to support nutrition programs and expand services. You can spread the word on social media, just having conversations with your family about food insecurity. And then also you can, so food, time, money, voice, every action, every way that you can give back makes a difference. And I want to plug also, as an example, if you wanted to give back and get involved more long term, even working at a food bank and having more Latinos and Latinas at the table, at the decision making tables, when it comes to hunger and food insecurity is important. And so at Feeding America, we have our careers page where we post national jobs, but we also post jobs from food banks all around the country. So everything from logistics manager to chief development officer and executive director, from Puerto Rico and North Carolina to Oregon, all of that is listed. And so we have the website, hopefully, that we can share in the chat as well. But that is something, if you wanted to make this your mission and your career in the nonprofit sector, I'm an example of just a wonderful experience in the nonprofit space and making a difference. Encourage you guys to look at that as well.
I absolutely love that. And I mean, your story is phenomenal because you were a career changer from corporate to nonprofit. So I would imagine, nonprofits such as Feeding America, you have fully in person, fully remote, and of course, hybrid positions. And I do see the careers page for Feeding America in the chat box. There is someone here, Edgar. He said, "Thank you, Zuani, for your passion and making a difference for those in need." I remember those days when food was limited in our household. So Edgar, thank you so much for sharing the love, but of course also sharing your story. It's a story that many of us know, particularly if we are first gen identities in various ways. So thank you for sharing that, Edgar, and thank you for sharing the careers information for Feeding America.
Yeah. And
So
Lynette, as you mentioned, the Hunger Action Month page, which I think we'll also share, it has a calendar, it has ideas of ways that you can give back. And we also have a kind of a micro page in Spanish and Espanol as well, if that's
oh,
your
that's
chosen language.
amazing.
We want to invite Spanish speakers to be part of this as well. So we
I
have
love it.
also, and you can link from that Hunger Action page. You'll see the link there.
Oh, that is awesome. I mean, I appreciate the culturally affirming information for our audience as well. So we are almost at time. I'm so sad because I feel like we're just getting
I
started.
know.
For anyone, please post your questions in the chat. We're definitely highlighting them. We have a couple minutes left. But Zuani, what are some things that you're hopeful for? Or is there a positive story that gives you hope for this year? We're already in mid-September. December's around the corner and the end of the year. Let us know.
I think the thing that gives me hope and kind of keeps me going in this space, and that I've seen more now and more recently, is just kind of this opportunity of the spirit of collaboration and connection. I feel like it's a reaction to the pandemic where we were so isolated, and now we want to be in community with each other, and we want to help each other thrive, and we want to lift each other up. So I'm seeing a lot of that, and that gives me hope. I know that as we talk to people and we are addressing food insecurity, it can be very isolating. It could
Yeah.
be very stigmatizing.
Mhm.
Nobody wants to admit that they can't afford food or that they can't provide for their families. But
Or have access to quality food.
exactly. So what we're
A lot
trying
of
to
food
do is
deserts.
just let people know that it's okay, and that Feeding America, the network of food banks, those 60,000 partner community organizations that we work with on the ground, we're here to help. And it could be a temporary situation. We know, like, people fall on hard times, or there's a car accident that kind of blew their budget, a health scare, maybe a
Life
job.
happens.
it happens,
Mhm.
a
Yep,
layoff, anything can happen that really can throw a family's budget out of whack.
that's right.
The Feeding America Network is there, and we're there to help now and in the long term. So I want to encourage people that may feel that shame, not to feel afraid to
Yeah,
ask for help, and
absolutely.
they can do that through our website. Enter your zip code, you'll get connected to your local food bank. But that hope of community and building that community, of being together in this, we're all in this fight together, and together we can end hunger. There's enough
Absolutely.
food in this country. We can do this. It's if we
That's
have
right.
the will to do it, and we can do it together.
Awesome. Zuani, thank you so much. Virtual round of applause for Zuani. Zuani's LinkedIn will be posted in the chat as well as mine. Please reach out if you'd like to connect further and co-build community. Thank you so much, Zuani. Appreciate you and looking forward to seeing you all and participants at next week's Cafecito con Ace. Gracias. Have a great one.
Bye.